with Mike Steely and Parker Thune. Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino calling line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wing Studios, here's Mike Steely and Parker Thune.
All right, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Welcome into Monday. We are here in the Buffalo Wild Wing Studios. Mike Steely and Parker Thune. Blake Gamble helping us out on YouTube as always, and hope your Monday's going along all right. Parker, how was the weekend in H-Town?
My weekend was great, Steely. I had not one but 2 peach milkshakes at Cooper Farms.
Really?
One on the way down, one on the way back up. Ran into some car trouble this morning, so got a definite case of the Mondays
The
today.
white buffalo is struggling.
The weekend, at least on my end, was spectacular. For OU Hoops, on the other hand, it was Sooner tragic yet again.
What name did we mention that would be the guy with the dagger? Sean Padula,
Steely,
right?
I've spoken this into existence twice. I said, watch Otega Owe drop a 30-piece on Oklahoma and beat him. And then I said, I think the very last thing I said before we went off the air Friday was, watch, it's going to be Sean Padula that hits the dagger to beat Oklahoma.
Is there a Missouri dagger guy with Oklahoma/OU ties for Wednesday night?
I don't think
I don't think
dagger
there
is going to
right?
be necessary in that game.
Well,
Based on the way they looked the first time those two teams played, Steely,
it was
that game may not be close.
Yeah, we'll see. 7 o'clock Wednesday night, Saturday at Texas to close out the regular season. Now, Joe Lunardi and Jerry Palm both still have the Sooners in. So we'll see what's going to happen there. As of now, why do I have a Kentucky-Oklahoma stat sheet? I'm losing my mind today. Anyway, that was the Dayton-Forsyth game. That could have been an even more all-caps Dayton-Forsyth game. He looked like he was back at Dale High School, didn't he? He was awesome. He was awesome. Jalen Moore tweaked his knee, only played 26 minutes. But again, the Sooners couldn't make a big stop. Padula's dagger 3 came with, 19 seconds left. It did look to me like Forsyth was bumped on his way out of bounds. Then he tried the Larry Bird, versus Michael Jordan.
Unfortunately, that's now illegal.
For your Big Mac shot, and the Sooners end up with another tough loss. So there you go, another heartbreaker for Oklahoma. But we talked about who would be the guy. Well, Sean Padula, of course. The Sooners are very close to perhaps landing Sean Padula in the portal. Edmond High School from Virginia Tech, ends up at Ole Miss, and he hits the big 3 and led Ole Miss in scoring over the weekend, and the big dagger 3 with 19 seconds left. So
okay, so if we're taking a quick look at the Missouri basketball roster, the most likely players to come up with the dagger against Oklahoma, if we're tracking this based on how Oklahoma is going to lose the game to Missouri the same way or in similar fashion to the way that they lost to Ole Miss and or Kentucky, you have 2 Oklahoma natives on Missouri's roster, Trent Pierce and T.O. Barrett. So it will be one of those 2 that sinks Oklahoma with the key shot at the end. That's what we've determined.
Man, there you go. There you go. That game's coming up again, 7 o'clock. SEC Network on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock again at the LNC. Saturday in Austin against the Longhorns, 7 o'clock on the SEC Network. So the OU women won yesterday, 91-84. They will play the winner of the Georgia-Arkansas game in Greenville, South Carolina, Thursday at 12:30 on the SEC Network. Softball, still undefeated, 19-0. Beat everybody they played this weekend, Marshall and Kansas twice, Kansas City yesterday. This weekend it's going to be a really big SEC opener because South Carolina comes in 19-0. And the Sooners are 19-0. That's it. So that's going to be a huge series starting Friday night, 6:30 at Love's Field. Baseball takes 3 over the weekend against CSUN. And they will play at Dallas Baptist coming up tomorrow night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at home against Sam Houston State at Mitchell Park. And then the Thunder beat the Spurs last night, 146-132 in San Antonio. J-Dub with a career-high 41 points. Oklahoma City in action tonight. taking on the Houston Rockets at the Paycom Palace at 7 o'clock. But back to Oklahoma basketball. Let's hear from Porter Moser lamenting another tough loss for the Sooners.
I don't know what it is. We cannot get that last stop. You were up against A&M. We missed the front end of the 1-on-1. And Zakir Phillips hits a 20-footer. LSU, Cam Carter hits that, misses the shot. Jordan Pope hit two against Texas. LSU, Ortega hit that one. We just cannot get a stop to win it. And, Sam was on him. He shot over a 6'9" kid from 25 feet. We really were trying to switch and make him drive. And he just kind of shook Sam and got him, and then he pulled. We did not want on the switch. We were just trying to make him go downhill, and we didn't get that done. But I'm heartbroken for the guys because we had this proverb. They know it's in my book talking about fall 7, rise 8. You fall 7 times in life. You got to keep rising 8th. And we talked about it these last 2 days after the Kentucky loss of fall 7, rise 8. In life, keep rising. And, the last 2 days, the prep after the Kentucky loss, to be locked in and this focused, to come in here, I'm heartbroken for the guys that we just can't get that last stop.
It feels like the Sooners have fallen 70 times 7 times.
Doesn't
in Porter Moser's tenure.
Yes, but like I said, they're just hanging in there by a thread with both Joe Lunardi in bracketology and Jerry Palm's bracketology deal that he does for CBS Sports. So can we call the Sean Padula 3 the Padula Oblongata as opposed to, what Adam Sandler had to face as Bobby Boucher in class there at Louisiana, wherever he was. But the medulla oblongata, of course.
Medulla oblongata. Something wrong with his medulla oblongata.
So there you go. The Padula oblongata got the Sooners on Saturday.
I like it, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It doesn't. I knew it wouldn't make sense, but I just want to play a soundbite. One of the great scenes, Colonel Sanders versus Bobby Boucher in the classroom in The Waterboy.
Joe in Tulsa on the text line says, "Yo, Parker, why don't you try not speaking negatives into existence?" All right, folks.
I was right there with you. We both talked about who is the guy who's going to hit the big shot. It'll be Sean Padula.
It feels like this team is hexed. It feels like this team is cursed. It feels like it doesn't really matter what you or I say. They will find another way to lose another game in heartbreaking fashion. So here, I'll speak some positives into existence. Dayton Forsyth 50 burger against Missouri on Wednesday.
Forsyth, that kid, man, he's been playing his tail off. And, he just decided, you know what, I'm going to try and take over this game. And he was super efficient as well. He was 7 of 9 from the field, 4 of 5 from three-point range, made all his free throws. Tough kid. I thought he got fouled. Look, sometimes you're not going to get that call on the road. I get it. But, again, the Sooners trying to find a couple victories down the stretch here. But we'll see. We'll see what happens Wednesday night against Missouri.
LaDonna from Lubbock checking in says, "I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I still love Porter. Can we just finish a dang game?" Did you see the video that was cut on Twitter by OU Hoops fan Greg?
I did not.
I kid you not, Steely. It is 5 minutes and 12 seconds.
Of daggers?
Of daggers in the Porter era. Oklahoma losing games in the final seconds. 5 minutes and 12 seconds of nonstop heartbreak.
And I think everybody likes Porter too, but, man, it's just you do feel like they're cursed somewhat. And, again, to lose, Jalen Moore plays 26 minutes, tweaked his knee. We'll see if that's going to be an issue for Missouri on Wednesday night. Hopefully not, but it was right there. It was right there. The one thing you can say is this team has not thrown in the towel. By the way, LaDonna, great for you to check in. Our Sooner spy. She is our Krasnoff there in Lubbock. LaDonna is, so great work once again there in the land of the Sand Aggies. All right, 405-651-3439 on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. How was Houston over the weekend? Did you see any good prospects? I mean, big
saw
time.
Quite a few.
Who are the top 3 for OU that you got a chance to see?
Ooh, okay. If I had to rank them, top 3, one would certainly be Zane Rowe We're all familiar with Zane Rowe.
He was
right?
committed to Oklahoma at one point, right?
Former Oklahoma commit, 4-star defensive end in the 2027 class. Number 2 would be Paris Melvin, 4-star athlete in the 2026 class that's going to OV with Oklahoma. Number 3, how about Jacoby Dixon, 4-star 2027 at running back. That's a top 150 player in the nation.
There you go. Any other big recruiting news? Anything happening? When's the next 2026 commit coming?
I don't know, Steely, but Oklahoma does have a huge visit weekend on tap. March 8th, that being Saturday, for those of you that aren't looking at a calendar. That is when Oklahoma will be hosting the Future Freaks event, which will bring 2026, 2027, and 2028 talent from all over the United States to Norman, America.
Future Freaks, there's Future Freaking. Yes, we need to get Rick James. Well, we can't get Rick James now, but, we need to cut that, I think, as the open for that weekend. All right, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We did just ask a question today on the YouTube chat, and that question is pretty simple. What are you looking forward to seeing about spring football for the Sooners? What are you most looking forward to seeing from Oklahoma? What are you most curious about? Spring football. We've got a Wednesday press conference. Brent Venables, John Mateer, Ben Arbuckle, Jim Naggie. Are we going to hear from Nate Dreiling, you think?
I'd hope so at some point.
And some players?
We're going to hear from all the newcomers on Wednesday. All of the early enrollee freshmen, all of the transfers, they're all going to be made available.
It seems like Mateer is the easy answer, right? Because people are excited
certainly
about seeing him and seeing the offense. Take that out of the equation. What are you looking forward to seeing the most? Because we officially get started on Thursday.
Who's getting the first-team reps at tight end? That, to me, is what I want to see.
Which kid from Kennesaw State's getting the reps? That's the question right there.
I don't know who's going to be leading the charge at that position group. It could just as easily be Caden Helms or Cade McIntyre or Carson Kent or Will Huggins or Devon Mitchell or Jaron Canick, right? Like, we have no idea what the tight end position looks like.
The best news would be Devon Mitchell.
That would be the best. Like, I think if you polled Sooner fans and asked them, who do you want to be the starting tight end in 2025, the majority would say Devon Mitchell because he came in as the most highly regarded.
Upside.
Correct.
So we'll see. We shall see what happens there. Anyway, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. And on YouTube, we're on YouTube live every day now. Just go to YouTube, search KREF Sports. You'll see the on our logo, the little red circle means we're live. Click on that, and it'll take you right to YouTube. So what else over the weekend? How about the diamond sports, man? Softball.
They're rolling.
Softball 19-0, baseball's 11-0. Pretty impressive. Pretty good. And look, any team that Patty Gasso puts out there is going to be good. But this one I think is better, maybe even than a lot of people expected so far. Now, this weekend series with South Carolina is going to be very interesting. They're undefeated as well. They just had a big series sweep of Duke. Duke's a pretty good squad. We know that. So they have a game with Youngstown State, I think, on Wednesday. So South Carolina does have a single game coming up on Wednesday, but it's very likely they'll roll in here 20-0, and then Patty and company at 19-0 heading into a big series. Pat, you heard what Patty said with Plank in the postgame. She wants you there really loud for the South Carolina series. The opening conference series in the SEC at Loves Field, Friday night, 6:30, Saturday at 2 o'clock, Sunday at 1:30 over at Loves Field. Okay, so is the White Buffalo going to make it? Do we know what the issue is?
There was a cylinder misfiring and also an issue with a judder, which I don't even know what a judder is. So I saw that. I was like, okay, I can replace a spark plug if that's all it was, but I don't have the faintest clue how to address an issue with a judder.
Never heard of the judder either, but you've got to keep in mind that on this planet, I might be the biggest automotive moron there is. I'm the guy. Well, what's the problem with it? I'll tell you what the problem with it is. There ain't a drop of oil in it. It's bone dry. I thought the oil just kind of stayed in there. Son, you might be the biggest moron I've ever seen in my garage ever. That's how it went down a long time ago.
That's what he said to you?
That was the look he gave me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the look. Like
That was the translation. That was the Steely translation.
we got some city slicker in here. Don't even know that the oil needs to be changed. Holy cow. Okay, 405-651-3439. Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line and live on YouTube as well. Thank you to Lasher Home Comfort Systems, 405-579-3113. We're underway. We're getting going. Spring football starts this week. We'll talk more about that. Reaction from Bob Stoops and another national pundit about the Jim Naggie hiring as the Sooners general manager for football. We'll have that coming up next right here on the Ref.
Through the dead of winter, to the dawn of spring, through the dog days of summer, and the kickoff of fall, no one covers Sooner football like we do. The Ref is SEC ready. Are you?
Hey, it's Mike Steely here for Cavens Group. Has it ever happened to you? You get home from the weekend, you arrive back at work on Monday, and your office is full of water. Not good. Now we're in that time of the year where pipes or sprinkler lines will freeze, and this can lead to a ton of damage to your home or business. Plus, if it's not cleaned up properly, that can lead to even more costly repairs in the future. Call Cavens Group today at 405-573-3048 or visit cavensgroup.com.
What are you doing out there?
Come on!
I saw you at the game the other night. Yeah, you. Up there getting mad, acting like we're all out there making $1 million a game. Well, let me be real with you. This isn't the pros. It's school sports, and it's a game, our game. So please, let us play.
School sports fans, remember, when you cheer for your team, make noise for the right reasons. This message presented by the NFHS and the NIAAA.
And all student athletes in Oklahoma.
It's time for your certified most accurate forecast from KOCO5 First Alert Weather. Brought to you by Cavens Group. Do you have a water emergency? Give Cavens a call at 405-573-3048.
From the First Alert Weather Center, this is meteorologist Jonathan Condor with your KOCO 5 News weather forecast. We'll be overcast and mostly cloudy today. You can dress for highs in the lower 60s, but a south breeze at 20, gusting to 25 miles an hour. I'm going to keep it dry most of the day and into the evening, but then tonight, a line of showers and thunderstorms will move through. It may hit as early as midnight. I'm thinking about 2 to 4 a.m. Tuesday. There is a risk of damaging winds and a low tornado risk, then turning very windy.
That was your certified most accurate forecast from KOCO5 First Alert Weather, brought to you by Cavens. Did you have a water emergency that you fear might turn into mold? Give Cavens Group a call at 405-573-3048 or visit cavensgroup.com today.
Imagine one step, and suddenly a fall turns into a fracture. For many, osteoporosis is a hidden threat, weakening bones silently until it's too late. At the Ortho Central Bone Health Clinic, we believe in personalized care to keep bones strong and resilient. Led by advanced practitioner Amanda Boyd, our team specializes in detection and personalized treatment plans, from bone density testing to strengthening bones after a fracture. Take charge of your bone health today. Call Ortho Central's Bone Health Clinic and let's build better bones together.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it making more money. Spend it making more memories. Spend it learning a new skill. Spend it teaching an old trick. Spend it career climbing. Spend it mountain climbing. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
Children are the greatest joy and our best hope for a better future. Friends, they are the future. But did you know that millions of kids are facing hunger every day? Food is not just food. It's energy, health, confidence, hope, and even love. Yes, love.
Thank you!
Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public.
The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Monday edition of Steelman and Thune here on the home of Sooner fans, Ref Radio Network. Good to have you with us. Thank you for being here. And we will talk to Jesse Crittenden coming up at 1:20 today. We are live on YouTube. Just get to YouTube, search KREF Sports. It will take you there. Our question today, not really a poll question, just more of a general question. What are you most looking forward to about spring football for the Sooners? By the way, David says, Parker, are you sure they did not say jitter? And Dal says, I think somebody's ripping you off, Parker, LOL. He's laughing. He should be concerned. Instead, he's laughing at you being potentially ripped off by a mechanic. You trust this dude? Worked on the Buffalo before?
Okay, first off, yes, I trust my mechanic.
Okay.
My mechanic was not the one that told me that it was an issue with a judder. That was AutoZone. I took it to AutoZone. You know, they do the free diagnostic, and they print you out a report generated by a computer that tells you, okay, this is the code your car's throwing. Here's what it means.
All right. Also, Rob Booman says LaDonna is KREF's Alexander Solnichkin. There's a name from Spygate a long, long time ago in a galaxy really far away. All right, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, and on YouTube, you can jump in the chat and answer that question. Spring football begins this week, officially on Thursday, big press conference on Wednesday. That should be a lot of fun. We will hear from Jim Naggie, but, man, the praise continues to roll in for the Sooners' hire of the new general manager, former executive director from the Senior Bowl, Jim Naggie. This was Bob Stoops on the Stoops Review this morning, and T-Row asking very simply, what do you think of the hire?
I think it's great. He's got great, experience and managing rosters and, those kind of things, obviously, and evaluating talent. So you can't get enough help there. And then I think, too, managing money, what a guy's worth and not worth. That's just as important. And, there's a lot to manage there in today's world. Some guys are going to, want more money, and you got to be able to say no, and you don't think you're worth that, just like the NFL does. It's an NFL model. And right now, you've got to be really smart with it. And guys with experience doing it, like Jim Naggie, it's got to help. I think it's just, and that's what most schools are starting to do. And so I think it's great.
There you go, Bob Stoops on the Stoops Review, presented by Stride Bank on Monday mornings on the T-Row in the Morning Show, and then Thursdays, the Stoops Preview on The Rush with Tyler and Teddy. All right, national opinion from Adam Brenneman, CBS Sports college football analyst here. He is talking about the Jim Naggie hire, and he is also a fan of the hire as well.
Oklahoma just made the biggest general manager hire since Stanford hired Andrew Luck. Jim Naggie spent nearly 2 decades scouting and building rosters for 4 Super Bowl winning teams. For the last 7 years, he's been running the Senior Bowl, the best all-star game in football. 18 years in NFL front offices, 6 Super Bowl appearances, and a Senior Bowl that consistently develops top draft picks. In fact, 45 of the top 100 picks in last year's draft were Senior Bowl graduates. Now he's bringing that expertise to Norman, Oklahoma, where he's going to handle roster construction, player retention, NIL deals, and the transfer portal. In other words, it's going to be run like an NFL front office. Brent Venables knows he needs them. He said, quote, the work required to manage a roster, including contract negotiations, player evaluation, strategic planning, recruiting, and retention requires full-time focus. And all that sounds good, but I'll tell you why this actually gives them an advantage. So in the 2000s, there was a facilities arm race in college football. The programs who embraced it won over recruits and became nationally relevant. Think Oregon, think Clemson. The ones who didn't do it fell behind. Same with embracing social media. The teams who invested in content like Ohio State started winning more. Those who didn't lost. Embracing the massive changes in college football currently happening with NIL and the portal, that's the next separator for these programs. And these changes are why Oklahoma made this move.
There you go. Good. More social media content. That's a good thing.
I loved the vibiness of that spiel.
I know.
There was some hip hop. There was a hip hop beat behind it.
Take the music out of it, please. Okay, but yeah, it used to be about facilities. He's right about that, and the facilities matter. Well, you can't have, you can't be like Fonzie living in a garage apartment, But you still need nice facilities. But it's all about the money. What percentage would you say that money plays the biggest role in getting a kid to campus these days? 75%, 80%, 90%?
When you say getting a kid to campus.
Or getting a kid, getting him signed. Yes, getting him signed.
It just...
Particularly among the 4 and 5
stars. In a general sense, if you're talking about blue chip players with a myriad of options, 2-3 dozen schools chasing their pledges. If we're just talking about the kids who are, worth 6 figures or more, then I would say 60 to 70% of those recruitments are heavily, heavily dictated these days by money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and again, it's not changing anytime soon. We're talking about, the April decision that's going to be coming down, everybody thinks, where, schools are going to have to come up with $20.5 million and divide that among their athletic programs. We know that football is going to get the lion's share of that, as football should. And down the road, are we looking at potentially some of these sports right now that are even really successful potentially becoming club sports down the road? We'll have to wait and see. The thing that I do like the most about what we're going to do also is this clearinghouse where real NIL valuations will be done, where you can't go hand some 5-star kid $1 million NIL deal and he takes one picture at Burger King or whatever. You know what I mean? He's got to actually earn that. And there will be some that are worth that or worth more. But, again, there just hasn't been – there's been no sheriff anywhere in the Wild West. Nobody. So hopefully that will bring a little more normalcy. But, look, this is the world we're in right now. It's not going back. Hopefully we can get some more rules and regulations with this, but the genie is way out of the bottle. Way out of the bottle. Okay, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Let's hit the text line, and then we'll also hit the YouTube chat as well.
Mike S. says, where will OU's basketball players be at next year, and how many will turn into stars? That's another alarming trend of the last few years, is how many guys have played at Oklahoma, transferred, and gone on to be absolute studs elsewhere. Because, the one that most...
Owe, Uzan.
Yeah, you think Owe, Uzan this year, obviously, but Alston Mason, Alondis Williams, Mo Gibson, Elijah Harkless. So many of these guys that have departed the program for one reason or another in recent years have bounced back and had really, really strong seasons or careers elsewhere. And, it's not like 100% hit rate. Like Bijan Cortez hasn't done a whole heck of a lot at Wichita State, to my knowledge. But there's a surprising number of guys that Oklahoma has rostered in basketball, lost to the transfer portal, and watched become great somewhere else.
Okay, let's say that Oklahoma loses to Missouri and Texas, and they lose in the opening round of the SEC tournament in Nashville. So if that happens, then the Sooners are looking at a record of 17-15. People think that, Porter Moser would 100% automatically not be back. Do you believe that is a 100% done deal if they finish 17-15? They lose out? Or is the money the buyout, which buyouts can be negotiated down or paid out over time? There are ways to deal with that. But do you think there's any chance that Porter, if they don't win out, could be back?
Yes, I think there's certainly a chance Porter could be back. But, like, here's the thing. I asked this question probably 3 weeks ago when Oklahoma was first starting to hit a skid. I asked genuinely to the text line, not rhetorically, just like seeking actual feedback. Do you want Oklahoma to make the NCAA tournament? Or are you so fed up that you just want a changing of the guard and you don't want any reason to renew this experiment for another year? Now, Steely, the interesting aspect of this whole conversation and Oklahoma's standing in the landscape of college basketball is that they got screwed by a historically good bubble last year, a historically strong bubble. This year, the bubble's terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
Not only the bubble last year was super strong, you're right, but then it was one of the wildest conference tournament weekends ever.
Like,
right?
Oklahoma might backdoor their way into the NCAA tournament with like a 19-15 or 18-16 type record as one of the last 4 teams in. That's very much within the realm of possibility. And I guess what I'm asking is, if you're an OU fan, do you even want that at this point? Is that satisfying in any way?
Good question. The thing that is keeping Oklahoma alive in this mix, 5 quad 1 wins. That's it. That's their trump card right now. And they're just hanging on with that. But that's a good question. From the 405, the question is, why would we want him back? I would say the fan base, while even a lot of people like Porter as a human being, and he is very likable, and I think these guys haven't quit on him, but, you need to pump some excitement back into the program if they lost out and didn't make the tournament, which is very possible, very possible. The question would be, would that decision be made about, well, you know what, he's had some bad luck. It's going to cost $8 million. Maybe they can't pare that down or whatever, the buyout money. And they think about, do we just want to give up $8 million here in the middle of the NIL era when money is everything? I don't know. I'm just asking that question. That could be the big factor. All right. 405-651-3439. People are bringing up Brady Manick. Yeah, Larry from the Prairie.
Brady Manick. I forgot about him, man.
You had to love Brady Manick. That dude. Carolina was so close, too. Carolina was so close. And he had a great run in the tournament, man. No doubt about it. Okay, what do we have?
A 405 listener says, I don't think a timeout should have been called with 16 seconds left. You give the defense a chance to set up, and then you have to inbound the ball. I think that was a mistake.
I'm more of a fan of don't call a timeout, but there was, what did Padula hit the jumper with 19 seconds left, the 3 to put Ole Miss in front. But if it was, what was it the other day? It was like 7 seconds left or whatever it was, right? There's a difference there. And I thought, again, I like Fears going to the basket. Now you had like 4 guys around him, but normally I'm in favor of not calling the timeout. But there was more time left. Okay, what else?
Somebody in the 405 says, Moser's buyout should come out of Joe C's salary.
Oh, man. How about Bill Self typing out an apology?
That was weird. Like, what?
Why
was
really
that
bad.
statement
There
necessary?
because some of these yahoos out there on social media were making.
Are they yahoos or
yahoos? Yahoos, either one. They're 2 groups. They were coming after the Kansas players. Some people say there were like some death threats. There were definitely some racist remarks. You know how these losers are. They hide behind fake names, and they think they can say anything. So I think Bill Self was trying to quash that as best he could. And I don't know if that enables the trolls even more or not, but he felt compelled to put something out there. Has not been a good year for KU. There's no doubt about that.
A 405 listener says, if the CBS bracket prediction holds and OU is an 11 seed playing 6 seed Kansas, yes, I want that.
As long as the game's not at Allen Fieldhouse. You had to go all the way back to the Terry Evans game the last time the Sooners won there during the Billy era. But, yeah, not been good. It has not been good for KU. Somebody keeps saying hire Rick Pitino. Now, here's the deal. He's got St. John's going in a great direction right now.
You think St. John's is letting Rick Pitino go anytime soon?
And he's more of an East Coast guy. I know he went to Kentucky, obviously. But what are your selling points on OU basketball right now? You don't get good crowds. You've got an old, dilapidated arena by today's standards. How much money can you afford to pay Rick Pitino? I just don't think it is that appealing right now.
Yeah, and again, Rick Pitino is a much better cultural fit at St. John's than he is at Oklahoma. Can you imagine him getting to town? I don't fit in with all these rednecks.
Yeah, Rick Pitino carries some baggage as well. He carries a little bit of baggage.
And I think
not like major baggage, but there's some baggage there too.
There is some baggage. But I think, honestly, in a weird way, that's part of the Pitino allure to some people is because they're so accustomed to seeing this program hire nice guys that they want to overcorrect in the opposite direction. Give me a scumbag. I want a scumbag of a coach.
Well, who is a good scumbag? Well, Chris Beard is, of course, beat the Sooners on Saturday. But I don't know. Who are the top 5 scumbags that might take the job? But the problem is they more than likely would never be offered the job.
It's kind of crazy, but altogether unsurprising how many coaches that we would consider scumbags have ties to Texas Tech.
That's true. That is exactly right. All right, we got to take a break. It's kind of like my uncle said, though. He said on the T-Rose show this past year that the biggest problem for the athletic department right now is the compliance office. They need to stop complying. So, but I think they're going to keep complying. All right, break time. When we get back, we'll hit the text line, and we got to talk about the Sooner Trio in Indy. They were very impressive. We'll get to that and more when we get back here on the Ref.
Bleed Crimson? Love great Sooner talk? Join the Ref Army by downloading our free app. Toby and TJ, Plank and Josh, Steelman and Thune, and Teddy and Tyler. We have the Sooner experts. The Ref is home to Sooner fans worldwide.
Speaking of technology, did you know that RK Black is an authorized dealer for Kyocera copiers? And the Kyocera copiers aren't just copiers. They're smart devices that can scan, print, fax, and email your documents with ease and security. Even better, they're backed by RK Black's award-winning service team that is built on nearly 70 years of taking great care of our clients. Whether you need a desktop printer or a multifunction copier, RK Black has the right product for you. Let's get the conversation started. Give us a call at 943-9800 or visit us at rkblack.com.
Mike Steely here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler Standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
March is here, and the home of Sooner fans is ready to make the best 68-team giveaway better than ever again this year. Join us Monday, March 17th for the Ref's 24th annual 68-team giveaway, live at Buffalo Wild Wings off of 19th Street and more. The Ref's 68-team giveaway is presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. The Ref, the home of Sooner fans, and your home for the best giveaways this March.
My dad, he's a double amputee, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. To me, a hero is someone who fights for our country and freedom. My dad is a hero. I was sure our troops built this house, and my dad can get through the wide doorways. He can reach anything.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Built for success? How about Built by Law? Law Custom Homes and Construction is here to build your next home. With over 30 years of experience, Barry and Angela Law pride themselves on building the best quality homes in Norman. Locally owned and operated, Law Custom Homes and Construction can also help you with carpet, tile, siding, windows, granite, and roofing. Don't wait. Call Barry Law at 405-919-7118 and let Law Custom Homes build your next quality home. That's 405-919-7118.
Dear hero, whoever you are, you save lives. I live with sickle cell and the pain and the issues that come along with sickle cell every day. I'm most grateful that people are willing to go out there and take their time, their blood, and give me new life. Because of you, I'm allowed to see my son grow up.
Giving equals living. Give blood. Replenish the supply. Learn more at hhs.gov/giveblood. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not gonna give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful they saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Big time news at Riverwind Casino for the month of March. Some great promotions. The 80K Golden Clovers giveaway is happening. Win a share of 80K in cash and bonus play. Play with your wild card every day, but especially today and tomorrow to get 5 times the entries for these Friday night drawings. We have the 30K 4-leaf fever promotion happening now through March 15th when your share of 30K in cash bonus play and prizes in that promotion. We have the 30K Shamrock Surprise. You can also win a share of 30K in cash and bonus play in hot seat drawings on Saturday night, Saturday, March 8th, Saturday, March 22nd, and the 30K Clubs and Clovers promotion. Win your share of 30K there in chips, Mondays through Wednesdays throughout the month of March. We also have an announcement that the Beats and Bites lineup for 2025 is out, all right? Now, the tickets don't go on sale to Friday, April 4th, but you might keep these in mind. June 14th, these are all Saturday shows except for the last one in September. June 14th, Josh Turner and Edwin McCain. July 19th on a Saturday night, Rick Springfield, the I Want My 80s tour, with a fireworks show afterwards, by the way. And then August 9th, Kansas and Starship. Now, that's number one on my list right there. And then September 5th, this will be a Friday show with Gary Allen with Drive. So those are your dates. We've got a show in June with Josh Turner and Edwin McCain. In July with Rick Springfield and a fireworks show. In August, Kansas and Starship. September 5th on a Friday, Gary Allen with Drive. All these start at 6:30. The tickets go on sale Friday, April 4th. So Riverwind Casino, always a great time. We've got shows in March, but they're all sold out. Maybe you can find some tickets somewhere. But 38 Special, Bonnie Raitt, and Chicago, all those shows are sold out at the show place. And a great turnout to see Gladys Knight last Friday night. Okay, 405-651-3439. Blake was bringing up Larry Eustace, who was there. He was at Iowa State back in the day, and that's when the photos surfaced of Larry Eustace hanging out with various sorority girls drinking a natural light. And we found out that he was a little bit off his rocker. He's now the basketball advisor in a consultant's role at Boise State, and they've got a good program out there right now. Somebody said Bob Huggins should be considered the numero uno prospect. Bob Huggins got some hot water, too. Did he? I don't think he got officially canceled, but some of the stuff he said was not very good.
Wasn't he also driving under the influence
He
repeatedly?
was. Yes.
Didn't that become kind of an issue for old Huggy Bear?
Yeah. Guy can coach, though. There's no doubt about that.
Man, Doug and Norman with some good polls, man. Doug and Norman pays attention to OU basketball. Gosh, you could have slipped this name by me. Don't forget about Joe Bamaseal, starting and leading scorer at VCU. Joe Bamas. I couldn't even
forgot
have told
about
you that
him.
He played at OU. He was there for 1 year. I think he played like 20 games. C.J. Noland is starting at New Mexico. Jalen Hill had a good year at UNLV. Javian McCullum, of course, who's at Georgia Tech. Man. It's great. Like, Bamaseal's averaging 15 points a game at VCU. C.J. Nolan, 8.5 per game at New Mexico. That's not nothing. Not superstar production by any means, but not nothing.
Yeah, there have been some guys who've moved on and have played pretty well.
Didn't C.J. Nolan didn't he go to North Texas for a year before he transferred to New Mexico? Doug would know. Let me know, Doug.
Do the research, Doug. You can do it. Doug's a good research guy.
Doug is an excellent research
quick.
guy. A 405 listener asks, going into next year, where do you rank the OU roster in the SEC in terms of talent incoming and returning?
You talking about football?
Yeah, I assume you're talking about football, but specify a sport for us, please.
Well, we could do both. Basketball, who knows, because it's so up in the air right now. Football, I don't know. I still think their talent level's pretty solid with Mateer, and if some of these guys, Jaden Gibson coming back and he stays healthy, then I think they could be one of the top. I don't know. I'd put them somewhere between 5 and 7 in the 5 and 8, maybe. What do you think?
I don't even think it's worth trying to rank returning talent on the basketball side of things because
it's too big of a question mark.
Football-wise, I think the 5 to 8 range is probably fair.
And the biggest question for me is, are they going to be able to stay healthy? Will John Mateer? I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be really good. But he's also facing a higher level of competition. So do I think, last year was a disaster for Jackson Arnold at quarterback. Michael Hawkins, did some good things, but it was just a disaster on offense all the way around. Bad offensive coordinator, bad luck with injuries, bad concepts, young quarterbacks losing their confidence early in the season. And, it got a little bit better with Joe John Finley coming around and calling plays, but I've never seen an offense so inept, and I've never seen an offense have as much bad luck with injuries. So I still think they've got some pretty good talent. The offensive line, they've got to develop a chemistry there, Parker. Who knows how the young guys are going to do? EPL, maybe Michael Fasusi comes in and can work his way into a starting role fairly early. But I still think they've got talent on that side of the football.
A 405 listener asked, what kind of season do you think Nick Anderson will have? Man, it was funny. I was actually just having this conversation with a few folks down in Houston over the weekend. Look, this is my opinion. I know there are plenty like, Nick Anderson's always hurt. He'll never do anything at LSU because he won't be able to stay on the field. Be that as it may, that's your opinion. Here's mine. Healthy Nick Anderson is in the running for the Biletnikoff in 2025.
You know what's going to happen? He's going to play like 12 games and go for like 1,800 yards. Or you know how it's –
Probably. At this rate, yeah.
That really sucks that he's not finishing his career at OU. I mean, I get it, but, I do think this social media stuff affects these kids too. They won't admit it, but they're human. I mean, look, even if you have the thickest skin, some of this stuff can get to you. And the thought on Nick Anderson, he's not that hurt. He's just collecting a paycheck. And he probably looked at that stuff most of the year and got really tired of it.
There is at least one listener on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line who would like the University of Oklahoma to hire Craig Speedy Claxton as head basketball coach at season's end. He is currently the head men's basketball coach at his alma mater, Hofstra.
Yeah, somebody brought that up recently, and I don't know, they get up and down the floor. I just don't like that they're not the Flying Dutchman anymore, right? Aren't they something? Didn't somebody say they have a
pride, the Hofstra
That's
pride?
so stupid. What's wrong with the Flying Dutchman? Is that some kind of? Why did we cancel the Flying Dutchman? What did they do?
Because society's too woke, Steely.
I don't know what the Flying Dutchman did, but they got canceled.
I wonder if it has an Urban Dictionary definition. Maybe that's why.
Well, probably. I didn't think about that. You're probably right.
John in the M-Dub. Is that Midwest City? I would assume that's Midwest City. John in the M-Dub says, Oway and Uzan are having nice years, but everyone else you named is playing at a level down. On the other hand, we've had guys step up to a higher level and play well. Guys just move around now. Other than Broom, almost all the Auburn guys are transfers.
It is on Urban Dictionary, so that's probably
the Flying Dutchman.
Yes,
yeah,
and it's
okay.
not. By the way, Mark says on the YouTube chats, not Rick, but Richard Patino from the University of New Mexico. He also says, "Who cares? Hire Huggins a personal driver." Who would be Bob Huggins' personal driver?
Chauffeur for Bob Huggins?
You know, if he was still here, it'd be Clark Stroud, of course, this stupid Friday
and
videos.
they'd lip sync together.
Those were the worst videos I've ever seen in my life, Stroud. Screw you out there in California. Caden Cooper, also a player.
Yeah, he's at like Louisiana Tech now, I think. I haven't much paid attention to him. But we can have Luann be Bob Huggins' chauffeur. Luann is very responsible.
Luann's very responsible, no doubt. Steely, do you remember the 80s cult classic Real Genius? Yes, Val Kilmer. When the guy cracked and left the room screaming from the all-night study session. That's what watching OU football and basketball is like. It's been very difficult. Very difficult. Hey, Diamond Sports are getting it done, though. Softball's 19-0. Skip and company, they're 11-0. They're awesome. Huggins driver, OU Gino.
Somebody said the Flying Dutchman was a slave ship. I told you it was because of woke.
Was it? No. Was it really? Maybe it was. We didn't have no filter back in my day, and you could insult anybody, and you know what? It was a better day back then. That's not me. That's an impression.
David from Norman says, if we don't up our NIL game, we'll be looking at the high school level for our next Sherry Cole.
Well, Sherry Cole worked out pretty
She did all right.
Good. Notre Dame hired Jerry Faust from high school, right? Or did he go to was it Akron after Notre Dame? I think he went from Cincinnati Moeller to Notre Dame back in the day, which was one of the top high school programs in the country.
Doug and Norman did the research for us. He said, Parker Steely, upon further research, C.J. Noland, as you both stated, transferred to North Texas from OU. He started there 1 year, was a starter, and averaged 10.9 points per game. He then transferred to New Mexico for this year. There you go. A verified source says, hire Will Wade. You won't, Joe C. But please hire Brian Hodgson at Arkansas State. He's responsible for the Alabama rise and the sole recruiting guru under Nate Oates.
I like that idea. I think it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good idea. You need to
I love that
get some excitement going in the LNC.
He told Joe C, hire Will Wade, you won't.
Oh, man. Who cares? Get Bob Huggins a driver. The Bob Huggins mobile. Would it look like the Pope mobile? Just that little glass. He could just drive around and wave at people. Oh, Eugenio behind the wheel. Who suggested that? Somebody did. What it is, here's Coach Huggins, Boomer. Oh, man. What a world we're living in. What a world we're living in. Just crazy.
Or you could just, hey, you know what? You could get Bob Huggins the Doc Sadler setup, where you just trick out an RV for him and park it outside the LNC.
Yeah. Rick Pitino, Porter Moser's hero, lived in a hotel room pretty much as a coach, right? Or you just get Bob one of those cars that won't start. He's got to do the breathalyzer thing.
Oh, God.
Bob Huggins is not walking through that door, okay? It ain't happening. Oh, yeah, put him in Cecil Big Red Samara's car, old school car. There you go. Okay, we got to get out of here for hour number one. I want to thank Lasher Home Comfort Systems, 405-579-3113. Coming up, Jesse Crittenden next hour at 1:20. We do want to talk about that trio of Sooners in Indy. Very impressive. We'll get to that and a lot more when we get back. 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. And on the YouTube chat, find us on YouTube. Just search KREF Sports, and it'll take you right there. Coming right back here on The Ref.
Sound off any time of day on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Right here on the home of Sooner fans, the Ref Sports Radio Network.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
Stand Up to Cancer asked leading cancer researchers to speak about why they do their work.
Two words come to mind for me. One is responsibility, the other is purpose.
It's just so inspiring to do research that impacts human lives.
Stand Up to Cancer has been a critical partner in advancing research for cancer.
Cancer research saves lives.
So please, help us fight in this battle against cancer.
Be a part of the team that ends cancer at standuptocancer.org.
For 3 generations, the John M. Ireland & Son Funeral Home and Chapel in Morris continued to serve the community by giving back to local schools, charitable organizations, and first responders.
We provide pre-planning for funerals and cremation services at the most reasonable prices.
We are proud to be a family-owned and operated funeral home.
Award-winning funeral home year after year, our family believes in serving the people of our community.
I'm John Ireland.
And I'm Solon Daniels.
You've got our word on it.
Life is full of big moments, and at OU Federal Credit Union, they are happy to help you make those moments happen. Thinking of buying a home? OUFCU offers mortgage loans with competitive rates and flexible terms. If you already own a home, their home equity loans can help you make those much-needed renovations or pay off high-interest debt. But it's not about the loans, it's about the people. Ready to make the next step toward your dreams? Visit OU Federal Credit Union today. Your home sweet loan is just around the corner. Member savings insured up to $250,000 by NCUA.
Hornsdown Apple Pie Liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural, 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the umps because Spike was safe, Hornsdown Apple Pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Hornsdown celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Street, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
Now that open enrollment for healthcare coverage has ended, there's still several options to consider that just might benefit you. Need to purchase your own health insurance? Confused about Medicare? Considering offering benefits to your employees? Call the agents at Allison Insurance, featuring 70-plus years of combined insurance business experience. They're able to help clients avoid mistakes when purchasing individual or group health insurance. Call Allison Insurance at 800-580-5587 or 745-2968. They are the experts.
Whether you're celebrating a special occasion, desire a great post-game, or after-work dining experience, the Ranch Steakhouse is the winning choice. At Ranch Steakhouse, we're grilling up the best USDA prime steaks in Oklahoma. Juicy, flavorful, and cooked to perfection. Pair that with an unbeatable atmosphere, a killer drink selection, and a wine list of over 400 personally curated bottles. Whether you're toasting the game or winding down after a big day, Ranch Steakhouse is where champions eat.
Schumacher Law Group, when experience matters. Tracy Schumacher is a former prosecutor and former district judge. Whether it's a probate challenge, criminal charges, or contentious divorce proceedings, experience matters. The attorneys at Schumacher Law Group provide compassionate, knowledgeable advice, all while fighting for your best interests. Find Schumacher Law Group online at lawgroupok.com or call 405-701-1882. Hometown lawyers ready to fight for you when experience matters.
You're listening to the home of Sooner fans, KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app. The Ref Sports Radio
Network. Welcome into the lounge here. Mike Steely, Parker Thune, Steelman and Thune, Monday edition, hour number 2. Jesse Crittenden coming up at 1:20 on the Riverwind Casino hotline. Having a good time on the YouTube chat and on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Our second hour brought to you by our friends at High Tower Clinical. They are the very best when it comes to clinical trial opportunities for you folks out there in the metro area and around the state of Oklahoma. No cost or insurance needed to take part. Your meds are provided for free, and patients are compensated for their time. Located conveniently around the metro area in a lot of locations, coming soon to other parts of the state. hightowerclinical.com for more information, or you can call or text them at this number, 405-831-5905. That's hightowerclinical.com. Or call or text this number at 405-831-5905 if you need some more information. This weekend you were in Houston, but you know what I did this weekend?
What did you do this weekend, Steely?
I sat on the couch quite a bit.
That was going to be my guess. Didn't want to.
There was a lot of good couch sitting. The dogs were very happy. Dad and Mom were, we're not real mobile these days, but they loved it. And I went back and watched season 1 of Real Detective. Is that what it's called? The HBO series? Real Detective.
You watched an entire season of a show
True
this
Detective.
weekend?
Yes. It was 8 episodes. Or was it 10? No, it was 10 episodes. But still the best season. You need a True Detective on HBO season 1 with Matthew McConaughey, who's fantastic. The acting he did in that was really good. He's a Longhorn, Steely. Yeah, but it was still very well acted. Woody Harrelson's in it. If you like, they've got a couple of, hotties in there with Alexandra Daddario and Michelle Monaghan. So there's something there for everybody, if you know what I mean. And some creepy stuff, very creepy stuff, but really, really good. True Detective Season 1. I would recommend that for you guys. Do you have Max?
I don't know if we do or not. I've lost track. We, like every other American, have subscriptions to way too many things.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Sometimes I need to go to my iPhone and just look at my subscriptions because you forget about them.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what? Still subscribe to that? $9.99 a month? Are you kidding me? Delete. Cancel. Arguably the best single season of TV ever. It was really good, 405. Yeah, it's excellent. It's creepy. It's Matthew McConaughey. I know. What did he win the Oscar for? Dallas Buyers Club?
I don't have a clue.
I think it was Dallas Buyers Club. But it's that role that he played as Rustin Cole was as good as that performance was. So there you go.
Doug and Norman found another deep cut for us. I didn't even remember this dude was at Oklahoma, and he was here for multiple years. Rick Isanza. Do you remember Rick Isanza?
Only because you brought his name up, and that's it. Where is he
was
now?
like 7'1", 7'2", big old dude. I think he was a lawn recruit that was on Porter's first team at OU.
I think that's, yeah, it was a lawn recruit.
He was terrible when he was here. I mean, couldn't shoot, couldn't move, couldn't do anything on the basketball court. He was just tall. He is now at Loyola Marymount. Still doing not much of anything, but he's at Loyola Marymount, averaging 2.6 points per game.
Really? Okay.
Rick Isanza.
Well, that's an embarrassment to the memory of Hank Gathers, who would have 2.6 points per game in like 30 seconds of a game. That Loyola team was a lot of fun back in the day with Bo Kimball, Hank Gathers, the late Hank Gathers. One of the worst things I've ever seen on a college basketball court was when he collapsed. And then didn't they beat Alabama when he was shooting the left-handed free throws, Bo Kimball? I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. But Then they had Jeff Fryer, who's like a long. By the way, what was the name of the 30 for 30? 7 seconds or less. Was that what it was called? The Paul Westhead 30 for 30. Really good. That you talk about a team. Of course, Billy and OU beat them pretty soundly, but that was a fun team to watch.
Somebody in the 918 says, "Is Dave Bliss available?"
The Guru of Go was the name of that, by the way. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Somebody says, "Is Dave Bliss available? I want to coach with a show cause."
Dave Bliss only tried to cover up a murder investigation. That's all. No big deal.
I wonder how long Dave Bliss's show cause for that was.
The man.
Do they give out lifetime show causes?
Now, Dave Bliss, I believe that McLeod had gone to Phoenix, correct, people? Old people like me. I believe that Dave Bliss was the first Sooner basketball coach to coach in the LNC. And he did a nice job. He was a Bob Knight disciple, and they had some good players back in the day. Won a Big 8 championship, and he did a nice job. Then he went to SMU.
Wasn't he at an Oklahoma school when the documentary came out?
Who's that?
Dave Bliss. It wasn't Southern Nazarene, but it was at one of those small college programs in Oklahoma. That Dave Bliss was coaching as recently as like 2017.
Southwestern Christian.
Southwestern Christian.
Our guy Blank.
There you go.
Blake, not Blank. Blank Gamble.
Blank Gamble.
You don't want Blank Gamble in here working with you.
Southwestern Christian University in Bethany, Oklahoma.
Blank Gamble is not going to give you a single answer. I don't know, man. I'm drawing a blank. Blake Gamble, he works just fine. That's what I was thinking, Big Rich.
And then, like, the documentary came out, and, you know, have you watched the documentary?
I think I did. Was it a 30 for 30, or was it like an
I don't think it was a 30 for 30. I think it was like an independent documentary. And Dave Bliss had done interviews. Like, he went and shot segments for the documentary.
And then they came
when
back
he was coaching
with the audio tape, right? Did they play the audio tape of him in his office basically saying,
I don't know if they played it for him.
We got to cover this up here.
But, yeah, they definitely played it on the documentary.
Yeah.
And so the documentary comes out, and he resigned, like, the next day.
Yeah, not cool. I remember when the Thunder hired Dave Bliss has been hired as an assistant coach for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And, of course, everybody can't believe an organization like OKC bring Dave Bliss in here after that BS. No, it's a different Dave Bliss. It's not, believe me.
It's like if Oklahoma ever hired Ryan Walters as their defensive coordinator. The Ryan Walters that's at Washington right now. Mm-hmm. You know, he was a GA at OU back in like 2012, I think, for a year. But if you ever came here, you know that the casual segment of the fan base that doesn't know any better.
Oh, my gosh. Right. Can you imagine?
They'd be like, is that the same Ryan Walters?
That's one guy that I think about 80% of Oklahomans are against, except for a lot of the farm bots that defend him. That dude sold his soul to the Heritage Foundation. They own it, the deed to his soul. It's probably in a file somewhere. Okay, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line.
Jim in Arlington asks, Steelman, remember when OU scored 172 points against Loyola Marymount back in the day?
What did Loyola have, like 145 or 140 or something like that? It was a crazy game, man. It was
Goodness
fun.
gracious.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the basketball equivalent of watching Big 12 football in 2017.
Yeah, that's right. Those LMU teams, though, they were fun to watch, man. A lot of fun to watch. Okay, by the way, the Combine, Parker Thune, all three of the Sooners did very well. Danny ends up 4.52, did really well, made some money. Billy Bowman ran a 4.4, looked great in a lot of the drills. Ethan Downs ran 4.7, which is not bad. Not, but mainly when you talk about the lifting and the other things he did, he looked really good. Now, again, they're not going to be early picks, but I think they all made some money. We'll see if Ethan Downs, goes in the very late rounds. I'm still hearing for Billy and Danny, third, fourth round, maybe in that range.
Danny's going to be He'll be off the board by the second round.
I would hope so. But we'll see.
Billy, I think, tested his way into the back end of the day, too.
Dude, if Billy Bowman was like 6'1",
if Billy Bowman was 6'1", he's a first-round pick.
Yeah. So they did
Ethan
very well.
Downs is getting drafted. Ain't
Ethan
no doubt
Downs,
about that.
Sometimes when it comes to, you can be in a better situation as an undrafted free agent only because
you kind of get to pick.
You get to pick what's the best spot for me. So we'll see. But Ethan Downs, great character kid, good player. I think he'll play in the league. Not saying he's going to be a star or anything, but I think he's got a really good chance to stick in a roster.
Doug and Norman says, Steely, talking about Loyola Marymount, do you remember meeting my son wearing his authentic Bo Kimball jersey at the KREF basketball giveaway a couple of years ago?
I do.
Try and make it again this year.
I still remember that. That was the first thing I noticed walking in. It was the kid with the Bo Kimball LMU jersey. Pretty awesome. Loved it. Absolutely.
A 405 listener says, traitor Nick Anderson, Biletnikoff finalist based on what? Not even the first option on OU's roster if he had stayed. Okay, let's please quit this. Nick Anderson would absolutely be the first option on OU's roster if he had stayed. Nick Anderson is second to no one with this Oklahoma receiving core right now.
Well, I guess the argument would be Burks if he'd been healthy the whole time.
1 and
1A maybe?
I think Nick Anderson, pound for – like – If I were building a team and I could only have Anderson or Burks, I'm taking Nick Anderson.
It's going to be interesting. You know who I'm looking forward to seeing come back this year? Jaden Gibson, too. Because that dude was tearing it up last year in workouts. And you love his size, catch radius. I hope he comes back and has a big season. He has gone through the Brent Venables culture machine and come out looking really good. They just had so much bad luck at receiver last year. By the way, let's hear from Ben Arbuckle. This was recently. He was on Sooner Scoop. It's been a while back. You know me, I give credit because that's what pros do. And they asked him quite simply about, define what John Mateer is all about and what stands out about him. And here's what he had to say.
John is the ultimate do everything right all the time guy, right? He's going to be in the building. He's going to be early for weights. He's going to be early for his nutrition. He'll never, ever miss anything, which I know is expected, but he does it to the nth degree. Has great relationships with everyone on the team. He's an easy person to talk to, easy guy to get along with. And so he has no problem connecting with his teammates, which I think is a huge thing for a quarterback. And as far as the familiarity he already has with the system and everything, at the end of the day, and this is something that, I told him going in, hey man, you're another ball coach. You get to assist us in implementing everything. And I was like, and no better person for the other players on the team to hear it from than you. I was like, it means more whenever it comes from a player. Player-led teams, I think, are unstoppable forces, and he gets to be the first enforcement of that. And so, just his familiarity with everything is invaluable. Who he is as a kid is invaluable, and he's unbelievable. He's awesome.
There you go. Ben Arbuckle, John Mateer will be at the press conference on Wednesday. We're expecting Brent, Ben Arbuckle, John Mateer. We're almost certainly going to hear from Jim Naggie as well, some other players, maybe Nate Dreiling. And spring football officially gets underway on Thursday. Spring football, to me, I guess, and Oklahoma's going to play their spring game. They're going to play the spring game. They haven't canceled like all these other programs have. And it's too late to do that, you would think. But I think in the era of the portal, it's a little more exciting because there's so many new guys coming in, right? It used to be, I remember when OU did the varsity alumni game, which is crazy to think that some of the alums would come back and play. Ronnie Fletcher, Steve Owen scored a touchdown once, Billy Sims, all those guys, or that NFL teams would let them come back, right? Sure, you can go play in a varsity alumni game, no problem.
That would not happen these days.
But I think because there's so many new faces coming in every year now that the spring game, is a little more, I don't know if I want to say entertaining, But there's more curiosity there because it's your first chance to see John Mateer, your first chance to see some of the new wide receivers, some of the new guys coming in.
Blue Whale Sooner says, gosh, it's shocking every time y'all play Ben Arbuckle audio. I get mule shoe cringe every time. Another listener said, it is uncanny how much he sounds like Riley.
It is a little creepy, I will say, yes. I will say that is correct. Hey, Steely, what's the one about Billy Tubbs? Hey, Steely, come on, load. One of Billy Tubbs' teams scored 97.5 against U.S. International College in San Diego. A college in San Diego and jacked up 5. Yes. Yeah, we talked about that a bunch recently. And, in fact, I played a Billy clip
a soundbite,
about that. Was it last week or the week before? Yeah. U.S. International, they were the Gulls back in the day. They came to the LNC. OU did have 97.5.
They were called the what?
The Gulls.
The Gulls?
Gulls. Like
Gulls?
seagulls.
Like seagulls?
Yes. Blake can Google it up and see if they're still the Gulls. Or maybe they're, I don't even know
Do
if
they
they're
even
US
exist? I've never heard of them.
They used to exist.
Okay.
Who knows?
A lot of things used to exist.
Who knows what kind of pansy nickname they got these days? But we'll see. But, yeah, they had 97. They kept – Billy said, that they should have – everybody was too concerned with jacking up threes. You get a couple twos and you get 101. But, yeah, that was such a Billy thing. They were cranking up, trying to get to that 100.5. So the Billy era was just built different. It was awesome. Okay, break time. 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. When we get back, Jesse Crittenden will join us on the Riverwind Casino text line. By the way, our 68-team giveaway at the Buffalo Wild Wings and more 2 weeks from today. So get there. Doug's been there, I think, pretty much every year. A lot of great listeners come out every year. 2 weeks from today at the Buffalo Wild Wings in more. Be there or be a real square. All right? We shall return right here on the Ref.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is the Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Hi, this is Jack Kiker with Knippelmeyer Chevrolet, located in Blanchard, America. My grandfather, Larry Knippelmeyer, tells me everybody deserves to save money. So say goodbye to those pushy big-time dealers with all those add-ons like paint protectors, nitrogen tires, and everything else that they could possibly think of. Then come down to Knippelmeyer Chevrolet, just 15 minutes from OKC or Norman. At Knippelmeyer, we will save you money and make sure you get a good buy from a family-owned dealership that has treated customers like family for over 65 years. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
What's up, Ref Army? It's Dusty Dvorak, and I'm back. I'm excited to be back with the Ref and cannot wait to help bring the home of Sooner fans the best Sooner coverage. Catch me every Tuesday and Wednesday during the 10 a.m. hour of The Plank Show as I cut it up with Plank and Josh about everything in the world of Sooner and college football. That's every Tuesday and Wednesday on The Plank Show, and there's only one place to hear it. The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Download the KRF app today to listen from anywhere.
OU softball, baseball, and gymnastics offer great opportunities for you to get out for some exciting action and support your Sooners. Going to an OU event or game? Balfour of Norman on Campus Corner invites you to stop by and get some new OU gear. Whether it's a softball jersey with your favorite player or just a new lucky shirt or hat to wear to the game, Balfour has everything you need to be in style and showing your colors. Cheer for the Sooners in the best and newest styles in Sooner sportswear. Locally owned for more than 45 years, Balfour continues to be Sooner fans' favorite OU store and has everything you need. Balfour has the latest styles and fashion trends for men, women, and children. You can find something for every Sooner fan. When it comes to hats, they have you covered with more than 100 styles to choose from. Even OU socks, so you're literally covered from head to toe. Graduation is right around the corner. They have OU diploma frames in stock. Or you can always get a gift card so they can choose the perfect gift for themselves. Come see us on the corner or shop online at crimsonproud.com, where you will find everything Sooner.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Okay, antibodies, huddle up. We're a great team, but the flu is dominating. The good news is the human we're protecting just got his flu shots. That means all of us antibodies have strong new gear that will help us fight and defend against the flu. We must win so that our human can stay healthy and help protect the people he cares about most.
Let's work as a team to defend against the flu. Gear up with a flu shot to help protect yourself and others and reduce your risk of being sick or hospitalized with the flu. Learn more at getmyflushot.org. Brought to you by the AMA, CDC, and the Ad Council.
We tend not to think about right now, but right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. When you give to the V Foundation, 100% of your donation goes directly to game-changing cancer research. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you. Donate at V.org, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Oklahoma baseball single game tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a packed 31-game home schedule this spring at L. Dale Mitchell Park. Seats start at just $10 per game, with exciting promotions like $2 Tuesdays, Firework Fridays, and Sunday Fun Day for Conference Series. Guaranteed fun for the whole family. Check out the game schedule and more information at Soonersports.com. Join us at the ballpark and Boomer Sooner.
All right, we are back here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Also on YouTube, just search KREF Sports. Back to the text line here in a little bit. We usually start at noon on the giveaways. 580 on the text line. All right. We usually do the first giveaways. I would expect it'll probably be that way again. So if it changes, I'll let you know. By the way, before we get to our man Jesse Crittenden, Blake looked up some stats on the Oklahoma LMU game, Loyola Marymount, back in December of 1990. The Sooners won that game 172 to 112. Brent Price had 56, made 11 of 19 from three-point range. Kermit Holmes, really good player out of Okmulgee, 34 points, 21 boards. Jeff Webster, Carl Albert, 28 points. Terry Evans, 10 points, 18 assists, and 7 steals. And nearly 11,000 there paid attendance for that game at the Lloyd Noble Center. Okay. Jesse Crittenden joining us. And since we sold our soul to the YouTube, we can't play his cool theme music anymore. But that's all right. Jesse, how we doing? How was the weekend?
It was good, man. Some ups and downs in the Oklahoma athletics universe, but we're starting conference play in softball this coming weekend. Spring football getting started on Thursday. The Thunder getting a good win yesterday. I'll be at the Thunder game tonight against Houston. It's a good time right now.
All right, Jesse, the Sooner men's basketball team, they lead the nation, I believe, in GPLs, gut punch losses. And you get another one over the weekend. What did you think of the Sooners' performance in Oxford? You know, Sean Padula, another local kid, 19 seconds left. There's another gut punch. What did you think of the no call on Forsyth down the stretch and the way he played? Just your thoughts on what happened Saturday at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, given the way this season has gone and really the Porter Moser tenure, I mean, was it really a surprise that Sean Padula rises up and hits the go-ahead three late? I mean, it's not only the fact that OU really, really wanted him out of the portal, during the offseason, but it's also when you combine that with Otega Owe and his heroics on Wednesday. I mean, it just seemed like almost fate. Like this team is almost doomed because, to that point, I think you had to give a lot of credit to the way Oklahoma fought to stay in that game. I mean, it looked like a story we had seen a million times with coming out flat-footed, but, I mean, Dayton Forsyth in that second half was just sensational. I mean, he wasn't just sensational for a freshman. He was sensational. I mean, just sensational overall. It was one of those games that if you're trying to project forward and reasons to remain optimistic about this program, regardless of what happens this season, I mean, Dayton Forsyth is at the top of the list. It wasn't just the three-point shooting. It was his aggressiveness. It was a freshman coming off the bench, kind of adding or providing some stability, and then you get some late buckets from Duke Miles late. You're thinking, hey, Oklahoma's going to somehow find a way to pull this off. But of course, it's Sean Padula that hits the three. I mean, yeah, you could look at a couple of calls. The Dayton Forsyth, is that a foul? Probably yes. Are you going to get that call on the road in the SEC late? Probably not. And I think the thing with this Oklahoma team is, despite like you mentioned, some of these gut punch losses, you keep on thinking, I mean, is that game the one where, if you win, you solidify your tournament chances. If you lose, you're out of it. Things are still so weird for this team because despite how disappointing this season has been down the stretch, they are still absolutely viable for the NCAA tournament. And part of that is because of how historically weak this bubble is and how good some of those non-conference wins still look. So it's one of those situations that if you're Oklahoma, you were kind of doomed by a historically good bubble last year. A historically bad bubble could be the thing that saves you this year, but you're going to run out of chances at some point if you're Oklahoma. That's now three. I mean, if you look at LSU, Texas A&M, and now Saturday, those are three wins that if you get them, we're not thinking about if OU's making the tourney. We're thinking about where is OU going to be seated. So it's been that kind of year. It's been that kind of season. And ultimately this team is kind of running out of opportunities to get this thing going back in the right direction.
Now, Mr. Crittenden, you mentioned how weak the bubble is. And it is a weak bubble. Not even close to the bubble that we saw a season ago. But let's say, I mean, there's a very realistic possibility Oklahoma gets in this tournament with a record of something like 19-16. And I'll ask you the same question I asked to the text line a little bit earlier in the show, which is, if you're an OU basketball fan, like, do you even want that? Or do you want, like, would you rather they just miss the tournament again? And because I know there are a lot of fans that are just ready for the next era of OU basketball, whatever that looks like. Like, is there any satisfaction to be found in being one of the last four teams in the tournament at 19-16 and going home after the round of 64? Like, obviously, if you make a run in the tournament, then great. All's well that ends well. But it doesn't seem to be great odds that happens for Oklahoma.
It's a really good question, honestly, and I think it's going to depend on what your perspective is on the men's basketball program as a whole, and also what's good for the program moving forward. I mean, I think if you're out on Porter Moser, if you're out on this era of men's basketball, you probably are in a weird way kind of rooting for this thing to fall apart over the last couple of weeks of the season. On the other hand, if you either hold out either optimism in Porter Moser, or just if you're thinking about is there something to be said for having success this season, even if it doesn't end in a huge tournament run or some miracle Cinderella season, is there something to be said that there would be some positive momentum from just getting into the tournament? You could argue that. And also you could argue that the NCAA tournament, we see it year after year after year that weird things happen. And as doomed as this program seems to be, especially under Porter Moser, I mean, hell, maybe you can talk yourself into saying, hey, if we just get into the tournament, we've got Jeremiah Fierce. He's played a lot better over the last couple of weeks. Maybe, we could win a game or two, and all of a sudden maybe you're thinking about, if you can do that, the trajectory of the program, regardless if Porter Moser is in Norman or not, maybe it rises up by OU just having something to point to in terms of success. Because the reality is, even if you want to blow this up, and I would understand that sentiment, there's something really depressing to think about this team missing the tournament 4 years in a row. So I think ultimately it kind of depends on what you really want out of this season and what you want out of the future of the program. I think for me personally, if you're trying to think about what's best, I think this team's got to make the tournament, even if it's a unimpressive record like 18 wins or 19 wins, even if it ends in a 1-game run at the tournament or a 2-game run at the tournament. I do think I would worry a little bit about the state of the program as a whole and fan support and all those things if OU gets to a fourth straight year of missing the tournament. Not to mention, if this thing all falls apart, I think sometimes that can be appealing, but that would, if this thing falls apart, then you've got to pick up the pieces. You've got to hire a new head coach. You've got to do this. You got to do that. And I think that process is even more tedious and even more depressing than I think sometimes it's led to believe. So I don't know. I think it depends on your perspective, but I think ultimately it would be good for this program to make the tournament, regardless if that means Porter Moser sticking around or not.
Jesse Crittenden, OU Insider, joining us on the Riverwind Casino Hotline on this Monday. Spring football gets underway this week. We've got the big press conference with Brent and John Mateer, Ben Arbuckle, and Jim Naggie, it looks like, again, and some players. So Sooner fans can look forward to that coming up on Wednesday. I'll get started officially, I guess, on Thursday. Give me your 3 big storylines for spring football for OU. 3 things you'll be looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I think one is obviously it's Jim Naggie coming in as general manager, and especially with the announcement of this hire. I mean, just a few days before spring practices start, I think it's going to be really interesting to hear what he has to say on Wednesday. Also, what Brent Venables has to say about his hire, and I think it's just going to be interesting to see. Yes, it's still very, very early, but I mean, are there changes that we see even in the spring? Do we see his impact, on the program, whether that's the spring portal or even what that means in terms of day-to-day practices? Does this allow Brent Venables to have more of a, to focus even more on what happens on the field? So, I mean, in Jim Naggie, it's arguably the win of the offseason, not only for OU, but kind of across the country. It's just a huge win that I think has been universally celebrated. I think that's positive momentum that this program really needed. I think, too, it's Brent Venables fully taking control of this defense. And, yes, this defense has kind of had his DNA, has had his imprint since he was hired. This is a different situation. You don't have someone at defensive coordinator. You don't have someone either masquerading as defensive coordinator or truly involved in the day-to-day like Zach Alley was last year. This is everything that happens with this defense this spring, the offseason, and next fall. It falls solely on Brent Venables. So even missing or losing a couple guys like Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman, you've got Brent Venables in charge. What does he do with this defense? What does that look like even in the spring, particularly as you get into some position group battles? And then I think third over, I mean, you could mention a bunch of other stuff like what is OU going to do at tight end? What does this offensive line look like? But third is going to be obviously it's the first spring with Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer leading this offense. It's going to be our first glimpse into what that actually looks like. It's going to be Ben Arbuckle installing that offense. It's going to be John Mateer, a guy that was really good last year that has obviously experience with Ben Arbuckle. It's how do those two guys kind of get the rest of the infrastructure of that offense? How do they kind of bring them into the fold? Because there's no question about whose offense this is. There's no question about what this is going to look like. It's Ben Arbuckle's offense with John Mateer likely leading the way. So how do they get everybody else involved? How does that make, all of the other position groups kind of fall into place? I mentioned tight end and offensive line are question marks. There's also question marks about who's going to be the number one running back. There's question marks about what does the rest of the wide receiver core look like when you lose so many guys, but it's all going to hinge on Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer kind of leading this thing. So this is a spring, weirdly enough, that, especially you combine that with Brent Venables heading into a kind of a hot seat year 4. This is more interesting than usual spring with a lot of moving parts and a lot of new things to watch. So, I mean, I really think Wednesday and then the next few weeks are going to be, some of the most interesting that OU has had in a spring in quite some time.
Who's the guy we're not talking about enough going into spring, Jesse? Could be on either side of the ball, could be for any reason, but who do you think is not getting enough press right now for Oklahoma?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we know some of the big name guys that are returning on defense, right? Like our Mason Thomas and Dominic Williams. But I think defense, I'm really looking at what happens with that linebacker room, and when you lose Danny Stutzman, when you lose Deshaun McCullough, when you lose Lewis Carter, it brings into question, what does the rest of that linebacker rotation look like? I mean, we know Kip Lewis and Kobe McKenzie, but what happens with someone like Sammy Omasigo? What happens with someone like James Nesta, a guy that's entering his second season, that all of a sudden you look at that linebacker room, they can't really afford to have James Nesta as a guy that is just continuing to sit back and grow. He might be a guy that OU really leans on to play some real snaps in 2025. So I think James Nesta is a really, really interesting guy just because of that group as a whole and obviously his potential. And on offense, I'm really looking at this wide receiver room as a whole. I mean, all of the portal guys that they've brought into the fold, what are those guys? I mean, what guy kind of, propels himself into really being in the rotation? We know what Deion Burks can bring. Jaden Gibson, obviously, if he's going to get fully healthy, what does that wide receiver room kind of look like outside of them? So, lot of really interesting moving parts on both sides of the ball. But I think weirdly enough, I don't know if it's the answer you're looking for, but I think James Nesta is a guy that I'm really going to be watching over the next few weeks.
All right, couple minutes left. Sooner softball 19-0, huge series, SEC opening weekend series at Love's Field coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday against undefeated South Carolina. We knew that Patty's team was going to be good. Better than expected. What do you think? And they look pretty darn good so far. Jesse, what's your take?
Yeah, it's to me, it's way better than expected. I mean, I don't know if I expected a bunch of losses early, but it's just how dominant Oklahoma has been, and the defense hasn't been a surprise. The pitching has been a little bit of a surprise just by how good Sam Landry and Isabella Smith and Kirsten Deal have been. I mean, I knew that group would be good. So there's been a little bit of surprise. The biggest surprise has been the offense. I mean, that's where I really thought the most growing pains would be. I mean, I thought you lose so many iconic offensive players from last season. Yeah, you've got some interesting pieces, but I just did not expect an offense, at least this early, that is one of the best in the country. And it's I mean, maybe the biggest surprising part has been the power hitting. I mean, they have 39 home runs through 19 games. That's not only third in the country. It's more home runs through 19 games the last two seasons, when you really put that into perspective, just how well they're hitting the ball. But also it's not just the power hitting. I think that, the last several years, the power hitting has been the big story for this offense. Not only has that continued so far this year, but you're really seeing some interesting stuff on the base paths. You're really seeing aggressive base running. You're really seeing some stolen bases. I mean, they have 36 stolen bases through 19 games. That's 25th in the country. I even asked Patty about that on Sunday, and it's one of those things where they're kind of getting to have their cake and eat it too. They're getting to have that power hitting that's been there the last few years, but they've also been really strategic, and there's been some really interesting stuff with just how they've handled the base running once they've actually gotten on base. So I think it's not only that the offense has been as good as it's been, but I think it's also the versatility. I mean, I think in some ways this offense has been more versatile and just as potent as the last couple of years. So yeah, the competition is gonna increase. I mean, this South Carolina series this weekend is going to be some must-watch softball, not only for local fans, but I think fans across the country. But it's just, I didn't expect things to look so good. I didn't expect things to look so clean, and I really didn't expect the offense to look as good as it has. I thought OU would have at least a couple of losses early, just, when you've got so many new pieces, you've got so many new freshmen. But this is a team that, there's still some growing to do, but this is a team that largely knows its identity and knows what it wants to do. They've already kind of got their lineup cemented in place. So overall, I mean, I think it's exceeded my expectations. And as much as this was maybe going to be a growing year or something of a rebuilding year, I mean, this is a team that looks like it is firmly in the championship, picture like it has always been. And I knew that was possible. I didn't expect it to look this good this early. I think that's been the biggest surprise for me.
Yeah, Diamond Sports right now, 30-0, pretty impressive. Baseball team, Skip, looking great. They're 11-0 and their best start since 2011. And Patty and company, again, it's only Oklahoma and South Carolina still left among the big-time conferences where you got both teams undefeated. And, again, South Carolina does have a game with Youngstown State Wednesday, but should come to Norman this weekend. 20-0, and Patty and company, of course, at 19-0 after their weekend where they won all 5 games and all 5 games in run-roll fashion. All right, Jesse, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Hey, appreciate you guys.
405-651-3439. We will check in on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. I just saw a 5-star gunny of Stutzman Army just said Johnny Ringo is a hoe on the text line. Thank you, 5-star gunny of Stutzman Army. I still have those clips. I haven't put them in the system, though, yet. But I'm going to. All right, break time. Coming right back. Keep it here on the home of Sooner fans.
Join the movement. The Ref Army is growing. Don't miss a second of the Sooner coverage you want with the KREF app, the #1 source for Sooner fans.
Looking for a trusted, locally owned and operated roofing company in Oklahoma? Black Thunder Roofing is a top-rated Home Advisor Elite Service Award winner and recipients of multiple Angie Superior Service Awards. They can do it all. Black Thunder also does free inspections and estimates. Locally operated in Norman and Edmond, Black Thunder Roofing serves OKC's metro area south to Purcell, Noble, Blanchard, as well as Yukon, Mustang, Bethany, and Piedmont. Visit blackthunderroofing.com or call 405-473-8028 for your free estimate today.
For 50 years, Moore Norman Technology Center has been our community's trusted source for technical career training in high-demand fields like healthcare and construction trades. On March 4th, voters have an opportunity to decide on a student investment plan aimed at increasing capacity at Moore Norman so all qualified students can train for a life-changing career. Moore Norman Technology Center, preparing students for a future that works. Visit mntc.edu/student investment for details and make plans to vote on March 4th.
Hey, all you electricians out there. Are you unhappy with your job? Ever feel like some employers see you as just a name on a time card instead of a human being? Well, at Wade Electric, they're a third-generation family-owned company serving the Norman and Oklahoma City area for over 50 years. They value their employees and want to help them succeed and enjoy their career in the electrical field. If you are unsatisfied with your current situation and are ready to make a change, call Wade Electric at 405-329-1940 to hear about their benefits and learn how to join the team.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
Every moment counts if you're at risk or living with lung cancer. And anyone with lungs can get lung cancer. It causes more cancer deaths than breast, colon, and prostate combined. And while there may be moments where you question your next step, through it all, Go-To for Lung Cancer is here for you. We are your community. For screening, treatment, and survivorship support, Go-To is your go-to. Confronting lung cancer starts here. Visit goto.org.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
Dear hero, whoever you are, you save lives. I live with sickle cell and the pain and the issues that come along with sickle cell every day. I'm most grateful that people are willing to go out there and take their time, their blood, and give me new life. Because of you, I'm allowed to see my son grow up.
Giving equals living. Give blood. Replenish the supply. Learn more at hhs.gov/giveblood. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Once upon a time, our family had trouble with pests around our home. Did you know that stinging insects send tons of people to the hospital? And teeny ticks and mosquitoes can be all around the yard. Their bites can make people and their pets sick. Mice, rats, and roaches need food and water just like us. You do not want them to visit. They can spread disease and make it hard to breathe. I'm sure glad this story has a happy ending.
Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have you with us. Now we know why Jimmy Johnson got so emotional and we had that tribute. We figured that something happened. And we learned today that Jimmy Johnson has retired after 31 years with Fox on NFL coverage. Former coach at Oklahoma State, former head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, and, of course, of the Dallas Cowboys and others. But Jimmy had some battles with he and Barry Switzer were both assistant coaches on Chuck Fairbanks' staff. And, of course, Barry coached Jimmy Johnson on the freshman squad at Arkansas. So a lot of ties there. But Jimmy Johnson, I gotta tell you, I wasn't a big Jimmy Johnson fan of him personally. I just kind of thought, I don't know, too much hairspray, all that stuff. But I think a little bit later in life, he became a lot more personable, I thought. And so I ended up liking Jimmy Johnson. I always respected him as a football guy, no doubt. But, that's sometimes when you're in the heat of battle and you're competing for, a college football natty, or you're competing for, the Super Bowl ring, the Lombardi Trophy, you're pretty focused and locked in. But we've seen, I think, a little bit of a different side of Jimmy Johnson, and I like the guy. I wasn't a huge fan of him personally for a while, but there is no doubt that he could coach.
Fox gave him the crappiest tribute of all time. I'll stand by that.
That AI, it was the creepiest tribute of all time, yes.
They told all their editors to just take the week off, and they decided to use AI to create a tribute video for Jimmy Johnson. It featured his own voice. That was the only thing that was authentic about it. The rest was AI slop.
Well, we half-ass a lot of stuff now because of AI. The computer will take care of it. That's why we have these yahoos out here on YouTube who don't know what the hell they're doing or what they're talking about, yet we think, oh, yeah, these are the guys you need to pay attention to. No, they're substandard and not professional. But all you minions of moronic behavior think they're really good. They aren't. The standard has been lowered. Big time. Big time. Back in my day, by God, we knew what it was all about. Taking pictures of yourself everywhere. Making up all the time. You are dooming this country and this world. You're the reason. Those meteor chances are getting worse every day. And one day when the meteor's coming for you, you'll say to yourself, I shouldn't have tried to fool so many people. Goodbye, cruel world. Boom. Big meteor explosion. And it's all you.
You know what? Much like we have heat-seeking missiles, I wish we had stupidity-seeking meteors.
I would be all for that. Let's go over our first five.
You know what? At that point, there would be no doubt about who's stupid and who's not, because the meteors would tell you.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Little cosmic fair play. What would you call that? What was the sci-fi show on Netflix? Black Mirror, was that the name of it? Didn't they have an episode where everybody was just walking around looking at their phone? They couldn't take their eyes off the phone, and their value as a human being, you could see it on a little bubble, like how many followers, how much they're worth. And that's pretty much, like I said, once we made attention currency, then it got really out of control. Because these people, they already need attention. And nowadays, this is how you get some dip thinking that somebody needs to see a picture of his meal, right? Oh, man, this looks like a good meal, right? Let me
Steely's
take a picture
taking
of this.
unprompted shots at Travis Davidson yet again.
I never said that at all. There are plenty of people who put meal pics out there that I'm like, seriously? I mean, I think I've taken one meal pic because we hadn't been to the Greek house in a long time, and Shay loves the Greek house. So I took one. I was immediately ashamed. I'm like, what the hell did I do that for? But these are the people who are ruining this nation and this society. Never been to OU, never graduated, yet all of a sudden they become the OU insider. It's horse manure. Okay, back to cosmic karma, says Blue Sooner. Or just stupidity killer drones, says Those might be coming now, but they could be coming for anybody who is against the current administration. You never know. What a crazy world we live in. Did you see how many people got fooled by the Robert De Niro stuff last night?
The Robert De Niro stuff?
Yeah,
I guess I didn't see any of this.
He said F Trump.
Oh.
But it was like from the Tony Awards like 5 years ago or whatever. So, of course, everybody tried to do, he was great at the Oscars tonight. Can you believe he said this? No. Said it a long time ago. Bill Engvall was right. Stupid people need their own sign. That's right. He was part of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour back in the day. What was the one line that he said? Oh, it was, drove my car into a mechanic the other day and had a flat tire, and he looked at my car and said, tire go flat? I said, no, these other three just swelled right up on me. Bill Engvall. He was probably, if you had to rank the 4 blue-collar comedy tours, I would go, man, it's close between, I would probably go Ron White, Larry the Cable Guy. It's a toss-up there. Those are the 2 top seeds. Foxworthy 3, Engvall 4.
Jeremy from Memphis says, Mule Shoe takes good meal picks. I bet he does.
Oh, I'm sure he does, yes. That brisket. How is Mule Shoe?
I don't know, but I always, whenever somebody brings up Mule Shoe in pictures, I always think back to when I think he caught a swordfish or something. You know, like he likes to go deep sea fishing.
Oh, we got him stabbed by a swordfish.
Yes, that's right.
We did that in a
Mule Shoe stabbed by a
soundbite.
swordfish. Yes, but he was barefoot in the picture, and his toes are just
jacked up.
Yes.
Elephant
well,
man
it's
toes.
a good thing. It's a good thing he made his living as a football coach, because if he ever got to the point where he had to sell feet picks,
well, maybe it was the water in Mule Shoe, freaking Texas. Maybe
could be.
Didn't they get the Russians hack into their water system or something?
Yes, the Russians hacked into the Mule Shoe water system.
Krasnov and his gang. They got after Mule Shoe, Texas, which I'm all in favor of that. But you might try and see if
maybe that accounts for the hairline, poor water quality.
It could be. Go in the file and see if it's Mule Shoe speared by a sailfish is still in there. It might just be in there. Mule Shoe.
We have so many. So many to scroll through.
Mule Shoe the liar. Mule Shoe, you son of a bitch. What is that?
Mule Shoe are close.
Mule Shoe Russian. What does that say?
Mule Shoe branded theme. That's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know if we can play that, can we? I guess we could, maybe. Mule Shoe Russian countdown. Maybe I deleted that one.
Oh, I found it.
There it is. Lincoln Riley.
Speared by sailfish.
We were hoping a spearfish, got after him. So here's how it went. Get him! Get that son of a... That, ladies and gentlemen, is our audio presentation of Mule Shoe speared by a sailfish. Is that Clark Stroud in the background there? Sounded like him.
Oh, my goodness. I'm just astonished by how many files we have that just start with the word Mule Shoe.
Pull up another Mule Shoe.
Oh, my goodness.
Where's the Mule Shoe?
Mule Shoe, Mule sound effects, Mule Shoe Aggie cheers, Mule Shoe and the Pips.
Oh, Mule Shoe and the Pips. I think we can play that. It's only like 5 seconds. It's got to be more than 29 seconds. Mule Shoe and the Pips.
I could tell you personally, if I'm looking at a guy that's a potential transfer incoming here, and that guy quit on his team mid-season, I'm going to have a hard time taking him.
They'll play that at the press conference when he gets fired, hopefully. Doug and Mustang, it's the Dan soundbite. Yeah, you've been listening a long time, Doug. Long time. Good call. All right, on that note, by the way, Riverwind Casino, ladies and gentlemen, we've got great new promotions happening. Get out and play with your wild card today. We also have the lineup announced for Beats and Bites. In June, Josh Turner and Edwin McCain. In July, Rick Springfield, I Want My 80s Tour show, plus a fireworks show that night, July 19th. August 9th, Kansas and Starship. In September 5th, Gary Allen and Drive. Now, the tickets will go on sale Friday, April 4th, but keep in mind, you better put some money aside. Those tickets, though, they're only $10 for Beats and Bites 2025. Tickets go on sale April 4th, 9th year of Beats and Bites. Have a great Monday.